Hello, beautiful people. It's your girl, Rocqi, from the It's So Real podcast and Rocqi's Reactions. Welcome to our YouTube channel. Please subscribe and help it get monetized. All right, so today on Rocqi's Reactions, just a side note. Yes, I have my hair done. Yes, there is a Mr. and Mrs. sign that's reversed because of the camera in my background, and that's because Oso and I just celebrated our engagement. So check out our first vlog where we took our 5 love languages test and you get to know a little bit more about our love and our relationship. And then check out our podcast episode, We Got Engaged, for that full story. But all right. So today on Rocqi's Reactions, I wanted to react to the movie Professor Marston and the Wonder Women. Okay. Now, I'm going to give you the plot that they have, but I'm also going to say I have a lot of spoilers in this because I'm reacting to it. I'm not actively watching it while reacting, but I watched it last night, and now I'm just giving you all my reactions. Okay, so the plot of the Professor Marston and the Wonder Women is the story of psychologist William Moulton Marston. That's a name for your ass. And his polyamorous relationship with his wife and their mistress, who would inspire his creation of the superheroine Wonder Woman. Okay? So that's the idea, where Wonder Woman was actually 2 women that he put together, you know? So a couple of things that pique my interest with this movie. One, I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist. So the psychological and social aspect of it is very stimulating and interesting, right? However, I'm also polyamorous. And within the polyam community, you know, there's definitely a seeking of representation. Like, you know, we live in a mononormative world. Where's the representation, right? And now that polyamorous is growing in a mainstream awareness, is this crooked? Let me get a little. Is that better? I don't know. But anyways, so yeah, as you know what, let me lower it. Sorry, y'all, bear with me. Ooh, a little too low. Oh yeah, that's a little better. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna just bring you all the way down. Let's just bring it down. And then, okay. There we go. I felt like I was trying to sit up for the camera. Now I can relax. Okay. So yes, with polyamory growing in mainstream awareness, triads have definitely been all over media, and triads are actually the minority within the community just because they're very hard to come by. Like, think about how hard it is to find one person who you're compatible with, you connect with, if it's life partnership, your futures align, things like that, you want to spend a lot of time with. Although there's a whole lot of different types of relationships that one could have within polyamory. It doesn't have to be someone you spend every day with, you live with. It doesn't have to be relationship escalator, so to speak. So, but all that to say, it's hard to find one person who, like, yeah, want to consistently experience, right? So then to find 2 people that you consistently experience, another challenge. And then that second person has also have to connect with and be compatible with your first person. So it's like, that's hard. I don't know why people thinking it's easy. Like, oh, I'm just gonna go find this. Excuse me. It's challenging on here. But anyways, so that being said, that's why we in the community would prefer there be more representation of polyamorous people who date separately from their partners, just because it's more realistic, you know. But this movie is about a polyamorous triad. I would say it's a FFM, female male triad, meaning they all have relationship together. But I definitely peep, like, wife is running shit, you know. So there's that. Now, if you do want representation for a polyamorous V, MFMV, meaning male, female, male V, where, let me just do this. The men are at the ends, not interacting with each other, but the woman is the one who connects them and who does have relationships with both of them. Definitely check out Savages with Blake Lively. That's a great representation of a polyamorous V. So yeah, starting to have some stuff. Now with this movie, Professor Marston and the Wonder Woman, this came out in 2017, the same year that the actual Wonder Woman movie with Gal Gadot came out. So that was interesting. I didn't even know that. I knew about the Wonder Woman, but I didn't know about this one. But this was a movie that people brought up about in the community about it being representative of us. So that being said, I'm going to give you the storyline, which is a little bit more of the plot. So again, spoiler. Uh-oh. Okay. So storyline. Details the unconventional life of Dr. William Marston, the Harvard psychologist and inventor who helped invent the modern lie detector test and created Wonder Woman in 1941. So this is a polyamorous triad in the 1940s and 1930s, Marston was in a polyamorous relationship with his wife, Elizabeth, a psychologist and inventor in her own right, and Olive Byrne, a former student who became an academic. This relationship was key to the creation of Wonder Woman, as Elizabeth and Olive's feminist ideals were ingrained in the character from her creation. Marston died of skin cancer in 1947, but Elizabeth and Olive remained a couple and raised their and Marston's children together. The film is said to focus on how Marston dealt with the controversy surrounding Wonder Woman's creation. Now, I would say I have seen, because, I like to read the trivia on IMDb, that, the actual family members of these people are denying some of the things that happen in the movie. Like, for instance, Elizabeth and Olive being in a romantic relationship. So I don't know what the truth is, but the movie's representation, so we're going with that. Okay. All right, so there's a couple things I wanted to react to within this movie. One, polyamory or ethical non-monogamy is not a protected class in the United States of America. Meaning you can get fired, you can get evicted, you can have your children taken out of your custody, you can get dishonorably discharged from the military. It's not a protected class. People can discriminate against us for being polyamorous. And that's what happened in the movie. William and Elizabeth got fired from their jobs as, I think they were researchers and professors at, I think it was Harvard Radcliffe College, because of their polyamorous relationship, right? And that's real that people deal with today, because again, it's not a protected class, and that's honestly what we're shooting for. I don't know what legal movement is there for it, because right now what I've noticed is multiple domestic partnerships are slowly coming into awareness of trying to get legalization to go towards multiple marriage being legal, or plural marriage being legal. But yes, it needs to be a protected class, because I'm fortunate that I'm self-employed. I'm in the Bay Area of California. Polyamory is known here, so it's not such a discrimination thing to my knowledge. But, especially people in the South, a lot of people aren't out because of that. Or they aren't out at the workplace, or they aren't out in their neighborhood, I think, and check out two things. We have a playlist called Our Polyamorous Journey, where we talk about our polyamorous experiences and growth journey, as well as polyamory / ethical non-monogamy. That playlist I created. Oh, right. I was going to say, so this movie came out in 2017, and I started my queer or my bisexual and polyamorous journey in 2018. So it came out a year before, which I find very fascinating. But while I was on that journey, I started a playlist of videos for education, representation, talking about the challenges within it, how to deconstruct and deprogram from mononormativity. Like, I started a playlist because I was like, I need help, you know? And then after like a while, I was like, oh, other people can use these resources too. Because again, we're striving for knowledge, you know? So definitely check out those two playlists. My words today are just not cooperating. But yeah. So, you know, there's that aspect. And it was interesting as far as the shame that Elizabeth experienced, because one, she was a psychologist. So I'm like, you ain't peep this? But we still human and still be caught up in our feelings. So yeah. But she was basically like, you know, society won't accept us. Society won't be okay with this. And therefore having that shame. And then like William had to call her out. He was like, do you want to pass that shame on to our children? Now, mind you, I'm polyamorous. My fiance is polyamorous. And we plan to, you know, still practice even though we're getting married. So we're raising our children with the normalization of non-monogamy. Okay? So I'm already queer. So I already have to normalize same-sex or same-gender relationships. Okay? Because I'm a be in one, you know? So then I'm normalizing non-monogamous relationships. Like, hey, when you get to dating, you know, you have a choice on whether you want monogamous relationships, non-monogamous relationships, whether it depends on the person or the people and how you want, like, you get to choose. You don't have to follow a set of rules. You don't have to be inside of a box, right? You can choose what works best for you. So that's how I plan to raise our children. Right? So when he was talking about that, it's like, yeah, you got to normalize that shit. If you're carrying that shame, they gonna peep that too. And they're going to think it's wrong. And there's nothing wrong about it. And that was the shaming that other people in the movie were trying to put on them. It's like, pause. What's wrong with love? Because they were saying it's perverted and it's inappropriate and it's damaging. What's wrong with love? Because that's all it is. Polyamory literally means multiple loves. So what's wrong with love? And then, of course, you know, Elizabeth and Olive were in a romantic relationship. So in the 1940s, people were homophobic and had issue with same-sex relationships. So, but again, what's wrong with love? Like, that's the biggest thing. When people are like shaming other people, if it's two consenting adults, why the fuck are you in their business? It's not your relationship. Nobody's forcing you to do this. Yes, you may have to see it, motherfuckers, because we exist. I don't have to hide for your comfort. Like, growth lies in discomfort. So grow the fuck up. Anyways, yeah, putting that shame and stuff on you, and it's like, yeah, it's weird. It's not the norm. Okay, give it a few years. You know, like, people gotta, So that was very realistic. And a lot of people today experience the shaming and the ostracization from their communities and from their families because they're polyamorous. So it's definitely realistic representation of shit that does happen. When I came out to my mom in maybe September of 2018, and she didn't take it well. You know, she made homophobic comments my whole life, so I knew she wasn't going to take it well. And she took about a month before she started communicating with me regularly. She did say she loved me, right? Now with polyamory, I waited, honestly, it was beginning of 2020 that I came out to her. And I came out to her, I sent her a CBS News documentary on polyamory. And I sent her that, and I was like, hey, watch this, let me know your thoughts. And she was in an uproar, like, I would never do this, and I'm too selfish, and all this other stuff. And I was like, nobody's saying this is for you. This is me, just so you know. Because my fiance is a man, a cishet man. Okay. So I didn't want her to get confused. Yes, I came out to you as bisexual, but now I'm marrying a man. Let's be real. I'm also going to have a woman. She needed to know, you know? So yeah, she didn't take it well. You know, she was like, it's illegal and all this other stuff. And I was like, no, that's only if you get married legally, you know? So yeah. But I think it took her like a week before she came back. And then when I went home, like I was wearing queer paraphernalia because I was like, again, don't get it twisted, I'm still this. And she basically was like, she wouldn't disown me for anything, which was comforting, you know? Because in order to come out to her, I had to accept her no longer being in my life, her choosing to no longer be in my life because of that. And that's hard. That's hard because it's the question of, do my parents unconditionally love me, right? And that's a hard question to face. It's a hard question to face. But I had built enough unconditional love and support around me where I do live in California that I was like, I can withstand if she chooses that. But luckily, she was like, nope, I'm still being in your life. I do love you unconditionally, which she said when I went back home this year. So that being said, yeah, some people react really badly because it's not the norm, because they don't understand it, because monogamy was never challenged or questioned. It was just blindly followed. And now that people are starting to question it, they're like, yeah, I don't know if monogamy is right for me. Or they'll be like, yes, it is right for me. Like I'm now intentionally choosing it rather than blindly following it, right? So definitely realistic representation there. And like one of the kids got beat up from other kids and stuff, and like kids are mean, so we're definitely gonna have to prep them for that. These kids are mean. Goodness. But one of the aspects I did like about this movie was a polyamorous family. A lot of times, especially because it's new in media, we haven't had polyamorous family representation. Like it's usually been centered around a couple realizing that they're non-monogamous and then going that direction, or individuals realizing they're polyamorous or ethically non-monogamous. But we don't see a lot of families being raised within that. So the fact that I think William and Elizabeth had 2 kids, and then William and Olive had 2 kids. So the fact that they're a polyamorous triad raising a family together, 4 children, I think it was 3 boys and a girl. And it was just like beautiful. And it's like, yay, representation. Because a lot of people still put the perversion on us. Like it's all about sex. It's literally multiple loves, people. Get your mind out of the gutter. And yes, sex is a part of relationships, but it's not all that it is. Like the fact. Anyways. Yeah. Went on a tangent there. But yeah, I'm really glad that they had that representation. Now, ideally, what I would like is kitchen table poly for my other life partner, meaning she is a part of our family as far as helping me manage the household, raising our children. She's friendly with my partner. Like, I would prefer that. And dating wise, I'm more open to parallel poly. And well, more so for my partner, just because the women aren't sticking around long enough for me to get to know them really. Like, he's deciding on his own that, you know, he knows his worth and he's not bending. So he's like, well, yeah, you know. So we'll see about that. Now, the interesting thing is, so again, check out, I think, the Challenges of Polyamory episode we did, where we talk about our experience with a triad. So just briefly, I met a woman, and when I meet women, I don't know where it's going. Like, it could be romantic, it could be friends, so I just leave it up in the air. But the first time I hung out with her, I invited her over to my house, and then we were smoking with my partner, and they hit it off. They connected really well. So I was just gonna be like, all right, I'm out, you know? But she was attracted to me, but she was more connected to him. So when we tried the triad, it was very uneven because it was more sexual with me and her, whereas with them it was more romantic and emotional. So like they're still friends. We're, I would say, like community / friends. Like they hang out way more regularly than I hang out with her. So because of that unequalness, again, triads are a minority because of that. I was like, yeah, I don't want to do a triad because I felt like a third wheel, and I was like, I just don't have to be here. Like, but two, like, I want a relationship with a woman. I want a romantic relationship with a woman. So, I mean, and sexual, but it has to be both. I tried to do casual sex. That's not for me with women, and that's not for me anymore. So, like, I do want a whole ass relationship with a woman. So I need a stronger connection with a woman, and this movie showed me that. Like, it showed Olive really romantically loving Elizabeth, and that being the seemingly stronger emotional connection. And it's like, yeah, I would need that. And then, like, my partner has a high sex drive, so he basically wants to have sex with someone he cares about. You know, that's where he is. Because I can't meet his sexual needs at all. But he doesn't want to just do casual sex either. So that's where he's at. So it would be convenient if it was a triad. And after this movie, I was like, all right, I feel like I'm reopening again to the idea of it. But yeah, I would have to have the stronger connection, because it's like, if that's not happening in a triad dynamic, I still have to go out and find a woman to be in a relationship with, because that's what I need, you know. So yeah, so that made me reflect on that. And then I think the last thing I wanted to talk about within this movie was, they brought up like the kink community, and I was surprised I didn't like. Wonder Woman has the lasso of truth, but in the movie they tied that to like bondage, right? And I was like, I did not peep that, you know. But then it was an interesting dynamic, because mind you, Elizabeth is masculine dominant energy as a woman, which I resonate with. And then Olive is feminine dominant energy, which is what I want in a woman, right? And during the bondage scene, they were learning about it, and Olive wanted to be tied. And Elizabeth was like, why? Because William was tying Olive, and Elizabeth was like, why are you letting him do that to you? Don't let him do that to you. And then Olive was like, but I want this. And that went into the submissive, you know? And it's like, yeah, some women are submissive. They actually want to submit. Whereas like the masculine dominant energy, check out Why Modern Women Don't Submit, that episode. It's like, yeah, it's very hard to submit. I am learning to be more cooperative and reconnecting with my feminine energy, but I'm definitely not a submissive. I'm not on that extreme, you know? But, so that was very interesting to see that play out. It was surprising, and it was interesting, the dynamics, and again, how women can be different in that regard, and how some women view it as men dominating women, but it's like, as William was saying in the movie, women submitting to a loving authority, or people submitting to a loving authority. So like Olive was submitting to a loving authority, like this is her partner. William was her partner, and she's submitting to that, right? And then in the comic books, he was saying like people have to submit to Wonder Woman's loving authority, because like she's a superhero, but she's a woman, right? So she's authority, but she's also loving, and it's like submitting to that. So it was very fascinating, very fascinating. I really enjoyed that aspect. Yeah. And then let's see, is there anything else that I wanted to say? I felt like I had one more thing that I wanted to say. I mean, so we'll see whether or not we end up in a triad. I have no idea, but I know that I want to be with a woman. Yeah. And yeah, even with the concept of women wanting to be housewives or women wanting to be stay-at-home moms or homemakers, like modern women, and I was one of them, is very resistant to a woman wanting that. Like, why would you want that? Because we don't value it. And that's what reconnecting me to my feminine energy has been becoming. It's becoming valuing being a wife, being a mother, being a homemaker. And I am starting to see a lot more value in that. Because, like, for me, I know that children are literally the next generation of humanity. So whatever you want the future of humanity to be, start with children, right? So that's why I've always been invested in child development. I started practicing therapy, specializing in children. I've had lots of experiences with my mom and my sister having in-home daycares. I've worked at child care centers. So like I have a lot of experience with children and making sure that foundation is solid, right? So like we decided that I'll be staying home with the kids and working from home for the first 5 years of life before they go to school. After that, I'm like, all right, I need space, go socialize, you know? And I'll provide supplemental learning, but the 5 years was a lot, you know? But so yeah, and then like even my homemaker role, like I'm definitely investing in the house and investing in making this a home. And my fiance is investing in our finances and our future. So it's like, yeah, why with feminism, why did a devaluing happen of the things like relationships are the one thing we all have in common, no matter what, no matter how enmeshed or estranged you are. Everybody has a family, you know, you come from something, whether again, you know them or not, you come from something. So investing in that seems more important to me than investing in a career. Like one, half the time that's making money for somebody else. Two, money doesn't actually matter. It's a piece of paper that man gave meaning. Relationships are much more priority to me, right? So let's assess our values, okay? And then also, our home is a place of peace. With a world of chaos, the one thing we have in our control is our home. And that's even iffy depending on, you know, your landlords, the housing market, all of that. So your neighborhoods. So yeah, like it's, so yeah, I don't understand the devaluing of that. But yeah. For me, it's still like I can't be financially dependent on my partner. Like we're about to go and me transitioning my career and I'm already like, I want my own income. And then a lot of women don't necessarily want to work, but want their own income. And I get that. And that's where you have to create passive and residual income because all this work and shit is for the birds. But like here, I enjoy doing this content. So please subscribe and help us get monetized. But yeah, so, oh, there's my baby now. So yes, please check out this movie, Professor Marston and the Wonder Women, where it's about a polyamorous triad. And make sure you let me know your thoughts about my reaction. Watch the video, watch my reaction, then come back and let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I'm interested on your take of the movie and what you thought about it, whether or not you're interested in polyamory, whether a triad's for you or dating separately. Like, let me know all of that in the comments below, and then please share. Like, again, we need more representation. We need more conversation. So, this was just me reacting and reflecting. So hopefully you enjoyed. But have a beautiful day. Take care of you. Peace and love.